Hey guys, Gavin from the Academy here. I wanted to take 2 minutes just to talk to you very briefly about the marking scheme with regards to your Leaving Cert English paper. It's something that I didn't have when I was a student, and it's crazy. I can't understand why more teachers don't focus on it. Actually, your percentage breakdown, your marking scheme, knowing how long to spend on particular areas and how many marks are going for particular areas, especially because the English paper, obviously 2 papers, it's wide, it's varied, it's long. So I'm going to take 2 minutes here just to try and kind of dispel a couple of myths, a couple of rumours, and try and kind of clear things up a little bit. Okay, so in terms of our paper 1 paper, which a lot of people say, you know, you can't study for paper 1, which is ridiculous, by the way. We spend a lot of time looking at paper 1 material within our weekly grinds here, both on the north and south side of Dublin. In terms of paper 1, this is our breakdown here. So if you guys can see this here, in terms of question A, which is basically like your search and destroy question, you know, you're reading a passage and you're answering questions on it. One thing that I'd like to tell you guys about that's very, very recent is these trends that are coming up. It came up here in 2019, it came up in 2018. It's something that we're very, very conscious of here in the Dublin Academy, but it's about what questions are actually going to come up in your question A question. They can be predicted too. And that's 12.5%, it's 50 marks of your entire paper. Not to jump ahead of ourselves, but if you can just look at this, an area where people say, oh, you know, you can't study for your question A question. If we have a quick look at that, and I'll jump on to paper 2 now in a minute, but you can see that it's exact same percentage breakdown as your study poetry. All those hours, all those tears spent, all those late nights trying to figure out what the hell Paul Durkin means, what the hell all these poets mean. Again, similar, it's exact same percentage breakdown in terms of our 2 areas here. Okay, so question A, really, really important section. Question B, again, we focus on our PA, or what are they specifically asking us to do here, and then we go ahead and do it. Again, remember, examiners not too concerned with our content here. They're concerned with what can you actually answer, can you do exactly specifically what you've been asked to do. Okay, again, another 50 marks. And then finally, in terms of our paper 1 is our section 2, which is arguably the hardest question in your entire Leaving Cert, and as you can see here, 25%, 100 marks. It is the heaviest weighted question on your paper. We look at something here called our categories of language. There's 5 categories of language which we discuss in the weekly grinds, and once you have a good grasp of that, and then obviously we make our predictions as well in terms of our 1 to 7 questions, there are questions here that you are guaranteed. So if you're sitting there going, look, I'm not a good author, I'm not, you know, the next J.K. Rowling or J.R. Tolkien, you don't have to be. There's a wide variety of questions here that once we have a little conversation, once we have a little chat in the weekly grinds, you'll figure out, okay, what style is best suited to myself, and then you go ahead and do that. It's an area here that you guys, once you kind of figure out what you're good at, you can actually gain significant marks within that area. All right, so that's our paper 1 breakdown very briefly. In terms of paper 2, again, this is the area where, again, we have that most amount of fear. We have our single text, 15%, 60 marks. Again, that's typically your Shakespearean text. This year, obviously, the current 6th years are looking at Hamlet. Next year, for you 5th years, we're going to be working off King Lear. The comparative, on the other hand, 17.5%, 70 marks. Again, your second heaviest weighted topic. Again, it deserves the second most amount of time spent as well. Here, what we do in the Academy, we focus a lot on, again, the actual questions, the modes that we think are going to come up, and how to go about using your 3 texts within that mode. It's actually a personal favourite of mine, the comparative. It's a really, really great topic to teach. Finally, then, we have our study poetry. Again, predicting which 4 poets are going to come up. Again, trying to study the 6 poems per poet which you need in order to get into those higher H categories. 12.5%, 50 marks. Again, huge amount of writing in that area, but again, once you know the formula, once you know about going point by point or poem by poem, we managed to chalk up those pages quite easily. And the last thing that you guys will do, this for some of you will be the last thing that you do with English ever, apart from speaking it every day, is going to be your unseen poetry. 22 minutes right at the end of your paper to get that 5%. There's 20 marks here. There are questions, predictable questions that come up time and time again that you guys can absolutely nail once you know what's going to come up. All right, so that's a brief overview, guys, in terms of our marking scheme for both paper 2 and paper 1. My name's Gavin. Have a good day.